Welcome to the Tuesday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Tuesday morning. Sorry, I was just a tad late there. I was like looking for my coffee cup, and it turns out it was here in the room the whole time. Who would have thunk? Resident Kitty Cat is with us today. Alright, so we definitely got quite a few articles to go over. My cat is extremely intrigued with the box of seltzer water that I have. Okay, kitty cat, you do you. Alright, so we definitely have a couple of things to go over. The first couple of things is we've got some Gab mail to go over that I missed. We've just been trying to run through all headlines and all that stuff, so we've kind of missed a couple of these. So let's start with that. Jesus saves American populism. Oh man. This picture though. The only way to be saved is by getting Jesus. Now there's a headline to start the day. Oh yeah, we missed a couple of a couple of Gab mails. So I'm just gonna catch up with that. Oh man, the picture though. How's it going, Memmius? I've been writing about concepts like building our own economy and the silent Christian secession. The silent Christian secession. What does that even mean? For months now, but things are accelerating faster than I anticipated at the tyrannical hands of the globalist American empire. What does that mean? Does Gab stand for God and Bible? Who knows? Maybe he did that on purpose. It's time to open the eyes of many. Hey Rendies, how's it going? It's time to open the eyes of many in the American populist movement who refuse to accept the reality of the communist color revolution in America. What does that mean? Okay, hold on folks. Akita. Alright. Yeah, she was under my feet. Yeah. Usually, depending on the context, usually that's exactly what it means, Randy's. It's time to open the eyes of the many in the American populist movement. Wait, what does that even mean? What American populist movement? Like, what does that even mean? Who refuse to accept the reality of the communist color revolution in America. Like, what? After yesterday's Banana Republic ending to the trial of the decade, it's clear that law and order no longer reign in the United States of America. What's worse is that we have Republicans and conservatives praising this week's clown show trial on national TV and glad that it happened effectively, telling the domestic terrorists to keep doing what they are doing in the future because it works. What does that mean? I don't get it. These people are not on our side. In fact, in many ways, they're even more dangerous than the enemy. Daily reminder, turn off Fox. Wait, hold on. Accidentally correct? Wait, hold on. Accidentally correct? Andrew Torbo from Gab? Hold on, I actually agree with this. Hold on, folks. Let me bring up chat again. View, docs, chat. Come on, chat. Where you at? Okay. This is 9 layers way too deep of feelings over reality. True. Anarcho-tyranny. Oh no, this is gold. This is gold. How's it going, Dark Knight? Hope you're doing alright. I mean, he's not wrong here. Turn off Fox News. Like, this, so far, this is like the one statement I've agreed with so far. Yeah, I mean, true. True. Anarcho-tyranny has taken over on behalf of the globalist American empire. These people have totally subverted our country, our media, our banks. Oh god. Ooh. Ooh. Yikes. Well, I don't know about Secret. It's pretty out there, Wing. But still, I think the dog whistles are pretty harsh here. These people have totally subverted our country, our media, our banks, schools, churches, and the minds of many of our children. None of us want any violence. The Democrat run cities can keep and retain all the benefits of multiculturalism, critical theory, and diversity to themselves. So is somebody gonna tell him? Who wants to tell him? We want no part of it. Yeah, I know. Our people, the American people, just want to be left alone to raise our families and worship God. No one's stopping you from doing any of these things. What is this victim complex? Jesus Christ. If the American populism movement is I still don't know what this is. If the American populism movement is to be successful, we need to operate a spiritually centralized but materially decentralized movement. What does that mean? For peaceful secession to happen, which I believe is inevitable, we can't have a centralized figurehead or group of for the globalist American empire to isolate, target, and destroy. Jesus Christ. How much more mask off can you get? Oh no, it's been pretty bad. Some of these emails are really. Whew. There are cabins in the woods. You can become Amish if you want. True. No one's stopping you from doing. From you being left alone to raise your family and worship God should you choose. This must be a materially decentralized movement that is centralized and unified only around Jesus Christ. Christ is the only way. Let the enemy try and attack Jesus and Christianity, which will only galvanize our base and wake up more Christians to what's going on. If they have no central person or group to attack, they must attack us all, collectively, or even worse, attack Jesus Christ himself. Like, this guy is clearly unhinged. Well, I think they're like traditionally like Jewish. I think like Orthodox Jewish, if I'm correct, Wing. The primary reason that MAGA failed is because MAGA had a centralized attack vector, Donald Trump. MAGA failed because it is a Looney Tunes MAGA failed because it was a Looney Tunes divorced from reality sect, okay? Cult. That's what it is. It's fucked up that they even try to connect this with Jesus. Yeah, I mean, like, this is GOP Jesus, okay? They're not talking about the real Jesus. They're talking about GOP Jesus. Cult of personality, right. The globalist American empire used the full force and power of their wicked machine against Donald Trump as a centralized material figurehead in the MAGA movement, because he's the one that started it. They rigged an election to No. No. He lost an election. He was voted out. They silenced his massive voice across the internet and limited any and all media coverage of him. Wait, didn't he go on like a couple of interviews already? Isn't he out and about doing interviews and stuff like that? Didn't he do like another public appearance for a GOP fundraiser or something like that? They demonized him and did the same to everyone and anyone around him. The MAGA movement failed, and specifically because the MAGA movement did not have Jesus Christ as its guiding leader and king. Wait, hold on, I thought Donald Trump was selected by Jesus Christ himself. I thought he was anointed by God. I thought he was anointed by God himself. I guess that all went out the window. Oh, no, I don't. I don't know this song. Though I'm not sure I can play it. Check it out sometime for sure. Oh, they want a monarchy theology now? Yeah, they do. Oh, I love rock and roll. I love like, well, to be honest, I love all type of music, but yes, primarily like punk and blues and jazz are like my main three, and like old school like classic rock. Yeah, I mean, Liberty Hangout literally openly advocates for a monarchy theology. Hey, how's it going? How's it going, Catboy? ¿Qué onda? And for those who disagree, democracy. um, if American populism is going to be successful at accomplishing anything, it must be a Christian movement. It is a Christian movement. What are you talking about? Not the woke false gospel Christianity. You mean the one that is written into the Bible where you feed the poor, and you go against greed, you heal the sick. Is that the woke false gospel? But rather an unapologetic biblical Christianity. That is the only way forward because it always has been and always will be. Unfortunately for the American populism. They like the Peter Christianity, not Jesus Christianity. Yeah. Unfortunately for American populism, the horrible swamp creatures in President Trump's orbit have transformed him from leader of the movement into a defeated and isolated fundraising machine for the GOP establishment. Who pushes the COVID vaccine on behalf of Big Pharma. What? Those in the movement are honest, who are honest with themselves, can see this plainly. Ah, yes. Oh, hey guys, we've reached a point of delusion, where we finally, in a weird way, we finally are acknowledging that at the end of the day, Donald Trump was the establishment. In case you want to see the blog post, because they give you this through email, but in case you want to see that. Hey, Chai Beercat, how's it going? I say this as someone who voted twice for President Trump and spent 5 years of my life doing everything in my power and ability to support the America First agenda. This just keeps getting worse and worse. Correct, Wing. What I have written will anger a lot of Trump supporters, but it doesn't mean it's not the truth. I tell you truth because I love you and I want to shift your worship, focus, and attention from former President Trump to the King of Kings, Jesus Christ. Christ is the only path forward. Waiting around for the next rigged election. Which rigged election? There was no rigged election. Like, just to be very clear, there was no rigged election. Like, they're still harping about this. It's almost May. It's almost May. Or sending your money to the GOP and Jared Kushner isn't going to solve our growing list of problems. Jesus Christ, this guy. As if like people are literally sending Jared Kushner money. No, he's just signaling out Jared Kushner because he's Jewish. That's what it is. They're gonna likely cope for the next decade. Jesus. Yeah, Bush, just to be clear, Bush didn't win. He was appointed. Bush did not win that election. He was appointed by the Supreme Court over a dispute that he won. So Bush did not win that election. He was appointed. First and foremost. Hey, Elio. Jared Kushner stole all my money that I sent him. Don't forget my Lindell will unite the country with Trump victory, Mr. Pillows. Yeah, Mr. Pillows for brains. That's funny. First and foremost, get right with God yourself as an individual. Repent. Call on Christ. Believe. Read God's word. Get yourself in a good church. If you're in a woke church, take it back for Christ. What? Take it back for Christ. What does that mean? And if it can't be taken, then leave. Find or start a new church. When the father of a family becomes a Christian, there's a 93% chance that the rest of the family... Wait, whoa, what are these statistics? What are these statistics? Where did he come up with these statistics? Oh no, this is all delusional. Olobos, yes. This is all delusional. Why can't I paste links? Because we've limited links, so you can send it to me in whispers, or to one of the mods. But yeah, you can send or on Discord. You can send it on Discord. That's correct, Wing. Yeah, Jesus facts. I too like to make up statistics based on my own personal experience. True. Men. Rise up and be the man God is calling you to me. Your family and our future depends on it. The fuck does that even mean? Jesus is king. He's on the throne now and should be served as such now. Oh, excuse me. I must have missed that memo. Christians are not to be called and sit around for Judgment Day while the world around us implodes. Wait, but if this is all part of God's plan, then we are called to make disciples and take dominion in the name of Jesus Christ. Christians are the builders and reformers. Reformation and revival begin in your own heart. Start now. Yeah, so more do the Jesus thing. At this point, I think it's obvious to most of us that peaceful secession and establishing dominion in the name of Jesus Christ, His gospel and the biblical Christian worldview is unequivocally the only path forward. That's right, folks. The only. There isn't better alternatives or other systems or beliefs that you can do. There's just only one path forward. This person is delusional. I really think that this person should... I'm a bit flustered. This reads like a cheap romance novel. I mean that in all sincerity, this person should probably speak to a professional. But in the meantime, he is spewing a lot of hate, a lot of anti-Semitism. I mean, the entire blog post is riddled in dog whistles and megaphones. The Christ King is a sect, and not one originated in Mexico. Huh. Like Jesus is king kind of thing? Is that what you're talking about? It's a sect. Okay. It's just how it's being read. Yeah, I'm making fun of it. My family on my mom's side is very religious. My uncle has a PhD in theology. What? An RC priest. I learned a lot from reading through his library. Interesting. Yeah, so this is riddled in a lot of dog whistles and megaphones. Unbelievable. Hello, who is Andrew Torba? Nobody important. Andrew Torba is the CEO and head of Gab. Is this Torba? Yeah, it's really him. It's actually him. This is unironically his thoughts. Hey, Bread Place, how's it going? Yeah, the CEO of Andrew Tobe is a dangerous right-wing extremist. Correct. Yikes, Catboy. I'm not surprised though. I'm not surprised though, because like clearly there I mean, just by reading and going through his stuff, you can see just how like mask off this person is. Gab welcomes pushback against experimental vaccines. He's talking about the COVID vaccine. No, it is not an experimental vaccine. There has been extensive, at this point there has been extensive data to back the efficacy of the vaccines. There's nothing really experimental about it in this, you know, about these vaccines. Okay? I am not going to stop pushing back against this experimental COVID vaccine. We are human beings, not lab rats. Okay. Okay. I've seen far too many horror stories, and this is too important. Source? Last thing we read was also Torba's thoughts. Yeah, Memo. I missed two Gab mails. I missed two Gab mails. And just the fact that Trump is pushing this vaccine. Yeah, I have a sock email for an account I made, so I could get this, so I can get these nuggets of gold that are being delivered to me, and then I just forward them to my email, to my other email. Yeah, Catboy, that's pretty much it. Yeah, and I'm just reading their No, that's not my sock puppet email. The sock puppet account. We are human beings. God. The fact that Trump is pushing this vaccine and even proudly taking credit for it alongside a globalist is really disheartening, especially as someone who voted for him twice and faced down a mob of insane people for 5 years because of it. What? Like, I mean, this guy like lives in a perpetual victim complex. I think that I'm being very serious. He needs to speak to somebody. Alongside the globalist is really disheartening. So first of all, Trump didn't push the vaccine when it was important. Trump got the vaccine back as soon as it came out in like January. Didn't tell anybody about it. And then now, as the vaccine is coming out, is rolling out, it's having pretty good results. Now Trump came out and said, well, you know, it was me. It wasn't you. Where is the Donald Trump of 2014 who tweeted, healthy young child goes to doctor, gets pumped with massive shots of many vaccines? That doesn't happen. Doesn't feel good and changes. Autism. Many such case, like, I can't, is this like a real sentence? I'm not sure. First of all, no, there's no evidence that this is such a meme, a dead meme. There's no real evidence to suggest this. Second of all, hey, thanks for pointing out that even back then in 2014, Donald Trump was completely off, like, divorced from reality. Thanks for like reminding us that even before, like, this isn't a new thing that the media just cooked up to attack Donald Trump when he was president just because he was president. This man has been divorced from reality and pushing very dangerous stuff even beforehand from 2014. It's not even based in reality either. Oh, we're going to hit the next Q, the next level Q drop, because Donald Trump has been replaced. Oh yeah. No, it's completely sick, Chai Bureaucrat. It's completely sick. And hey, at least we have further confirmation that this guy was beyond divorce from reality, even back then in 2014. What is your family's mother tongue? Spanish. My first language was Spanish. Where did that guy go? Apparently back to Mar-a-Lago, but okay. He was seen just how crazy he was, and he was voted out. That's what happened to him. If you log into Facebook, YouTube, Google, Twitter today, you will be bombarded with "get the vaccine now" across every feed. If you open up your email inbox or turn on the TV, and it's the same thing. It's sickening. It is the largest psychological conditioning operation in human history. In human history. In human history. Unreal. Yeah, because English hits a larger audience, and it's just a language that I've just spoken for a while. Yeah, I do speak Spanish. I speak completely. Maybe my accent has been lost, but I speak Spanish. I can write Spanish. I can read Spanish. I'm just not very good at it anymore, anyways. It'd be cool to have a Spanish stream once in a while. Sometimes I'll respond to people sometimes in Spanish, or I will. Sometimes like I can understand and read. I can understand and read Portuguese, but I can't speak it well. I can like read and understand it, but I can't speak it. Do it weekly for practice. That'd be interesting. You don't have an accent. I can read and write Spanish too. My family is Mexican. Oh, cool. Do you think speaking two languages has changed the perception you have about the world? Um, I don't I don't know if that's true for me anyways, Catboy. I don't know if like me being able to speak the two languages, I guess you could say that I have a little bit of an expanded, like I have an extra DLC in my brain. I have an extra DLC download in my brain where I can understand, like, because I understand Spanish, I could see the perspective of, like, you know, if I speak to my parents or if I speak to my family or you know, things like that. That doesn't apply to all the conservative Latinos I know. Yeah, true. There's a lot of conservative Latinos. But yeah, I mean, it matters whether it was to the first language. I think mixed households where multiple languages come from acquired later. How could you know if it changes our perception if we've always known two languages? That's some meta stuff. True. Oh, that's very true, Randy's. I mean, I was raised speaking Spanish, and then I learned English, and I've been around English and Spanish my entire life. So that's what I know. I mean, for example, you don't feel scared about people speaking other languages around you? No, I don't. But I feel like I would feel that way regardless, right? Correct, it would be like xenophobia. Like, I don't care. Like I could listen to somebody speak a completely different language, not even Latin related. And I don't get like weirded out by it. If anything, it intrigues me because I try to understand it. It doesn't weird me out, or it doesn't like give me a different negative feeling. If anything, like, I try to understand it, especially if it's completely different than what I know. Yeah, it's weird that people get freaked out by a different language. I never understood that. Shouldn't that make you curious? Like, when you hear a completely different language, completely unrelated to yours, completely, like, not even the same roots or anything like that, wouldn't that make you even more curious? I could speak 4 languages, but technically I use English and Spanish, and I can speak French. Nice. You used to stress me out as a kid. It highlights your lack of ability. Base saving, yeah, true. There's a language that doesn't have left or right. I forget which one, but they use compass directions, and even underground they can accurately point to the correct compass direction. Interesting. Now I'd be all so curious to understand. Correct. Yeah. Correct. There you go. Spread it forward. How's it going? And Trump is still talking about how the election was stolen from him. I don't know if he's still talking about it, but this guy definitely is. The guy from the guy from Gab is definitely still talking about it. All right, let's continue. Being anti-experimental vaccine is not about being anti-science. Well, it's not an experimental vaccine. It's about being pro-humanity. It's about, oh, here we go. Here's the truth. Here's the truth couched in here, in the middle of this entire blog post. Here's the truth right here, couched into it. It's about religious liberty. Yeah, okay, buddy. Okay, back to work. Alright, friend. It's about free speech. Wait. Having a vaccine. Wait. What does this have to do with free speech? Okay. This moment is exactly what Gab was built for. If you can't question the largest science experiment in history, if you can't opt out, if you can't highlight all the problems with it. Hold on, can somebody correct me here? Is there like a mandatory vaccine law that if you don't get the vaccine, the government will bust down your door and hold you down, and then they'll like inject you as you scream about religious liberty and free speech? Is there like a law? Is that like something happening? I was listening to some Stokely Carmichael lectures yesterday. He was talking. He was a fucking genius and base as fuck. Would recommend. Interesting. I don't know if it should be like forced. I think that there should be limitations where like, hey, if your child isn't vaccinated, maybe they can't go to school. If you're not vaccinated, then you'll be. I mean, you just can't go on airplanes. You just can't travel anymore. If you don't get the vaccine, then you're gonna have to. You can't participate in X, Y, and Z. You know, because I mean, we have those rules, or literally a whole bunch of myriad of vaccines. Like your kid can't go to college or can't go to school, to public school, if they don't have like the basics, like the measles, exactly, memo. So things like that. I mean, there you go. That you can do rules like that. I feel like because this is such a highly contagious virus, we want to stamp this out, and I think that some of these things are warranted. But this guy is literally giving us like the imagery that there's like government agents knocking your door down and then like grabbing you and then holding you down as they like, you know, give you the vaccine. The police broke my windows by shooting a vaccine dart into me. I mean, that's the image that I'm getting, right? If you can't question the largest science experiment in history, if you can't opt out, you can't highlight all the problems with it. They have been very transparent with every little detail that happens with this vaccine. Well, with the multiple vaccines that have been out, they're very transparent. There was literally 6 cases, okay? And they were the moment they were notified, they gave that information out to the public and then addressed it. Even though it was just 6 cases out of 6 million, okay? They addressed it. They addressed it and were very transparent about it, okay? And they have been noted and reported on any type of potential side effect. They already do this. There's nothing like hidden about it, okay? And what do you mean you can't highlight any little adverse effect is being documented, notated, and reported on? What are you talking about? And if any medical professional who dares to question it is silenced, then you're living in a global medical in a state of global medical tyranny. I'm telling you, this guy lives in a perpetual victim complex. Hey Golem, how's it going? Are you American? Yeah. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but yeah. Every day is Red Dawn for this man. I'm telling you, this guy lives in a perpetual, like, victim state. The other blog post, it was an anarcho-tyranny. The other blog post, it was anarcho-tyranny. It's... yeah. No, no, here, let me save you the trouble. Don't even worry about it. Let me save you the trouble. Like, why do people need to feel? No, I know that's not my issue. My issue is like, first of all, you're prejudging. You're prejudging without even listening to a word I have to say. And second of all, it's like instead of having like a productive conversation about it and saying like, hey, you know, maybe we should focus on solutions about this or that or talk about it. You like, oh, okay, asked American like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna turn off the stream because, you know, all of you are just fat idiots or whatever. Like, what? You didn't even have a second to like listen to what I had to say, but okay. Like, exactly, spread it forward. Like, wait, just to be clear, I'm like one of the... Oh, I've seen them before, it's been a long time. Oh, I thought you were making a joke, Chai Bureaucrat. I thought you were making a joke. Hey Cal, how's it going? Second of all, I don't know if you guys can see or perceive from this camera angle. But I'm pretty tiny, okay? Yeah, they literally said you're... Wait. Really? That was his first comment? I thought his first comment was asking if I was American. Oh, I didn't even see this. Okay, yeah, just a troll. Alright. That's okay. I didn't even read that one. I missed that one. It's all coming back to me. Yeah, alright, that's fine. Anyways, let's continue. I'm sorry if that offends anybody. Like, okay. As I wrote earlier this month, the vaccine has become as I wrote earlier this month, the vaccine has become a religious ceremony. Wait. And people have a right to not participate in it. I will not be peer pressured by government, and I'm not gonna read this. This is... Okay, I'm gonna stop this right here. If you guys don't know, this is a incredibly, like, mask off. This is like, this is a unironic Nazi, this is a Nazi talking point. I'm not even kidding. Like, I'm not exaggerating. This is literally Nazi, lingo, rhetoric, language, terminology. This is literally Nazi terminology. Who is this person? Oh, this person is the wonderful CEO of Gab. Best president didn't even last 2 terms. Yeah, this right here, so I'm gonna stop it right here, is literally a, this is like Nazi, language or rhetoric, talking points, or I don't know what the right word is for, it's for, but they use this exact terminology. In fact, did anybody see, did anybody see the debate between is it Carolyn Borisenko, Blair White, and the 2 far right people? One of them being like a literal Nazi. Global Homo is referring to, essentially what it's referring to, is that there is a giant conspiracy, world conspiracy, that Jewish people are behind to make people accept the gay agenda or something like that. Yeah. The Illuminati? No, I mean, I guess it has some elements of that, but it's a common Nazi like talking point. They're coming out, so there's some fancy words for them. It's not even new. It's not even new. If you watch the debate between Carolyn Borisenko, Blair White, and the 2 far right people, one of them mentions this exact terminology, and she is clearly espousing like Nazi talking points about how the GOP should focus on white working class people, and how diversity is the degeneracy of like people like Blair White are ruining the GOP and stuff like that. I mean, it was really bad. If you guys look for it, you'll see the and that people like Blair White shouldn't exist. If you know, it's really bad. So if you want to watch it, it's out there. I highly recommend, if you really want to know like the context of this and want to hear it in context, go watch that debate. Go watch that debate. They mentioned this, and the moderator. The moderator is like laughing about it too, like, ha, ha, oh, so funny. Oh, like, dude, I don't think you understand what this person is talking about. Like, oh my goodness. I've literally never heard of it. Straight up like Luigi, true. Yeah. So I mean, is it safe to say now? I mean, do we need any more evidence to basically say that this guy is, he continuously talks about America First. He continuously singles out Jared Kushner. He continuously talks about globalist elites. And now we're talking about this. I mean, 2 + 2 = 4, ladies and gentlemen. 2 + 2 = 4. Okay? And, I mean, I think that there's nothing left nothing left to it. I mean, the guy's talking about ultra nationalist talking points. He's talking about always America first. He's talking about the he always singles out Jared Kushner. This is not the first time. Like the other Gab blog post that we looked at. That's not the first time he singled out Jared Kushner. He talks about globalist elites all the time, talking about how they have everything. They're involved in everything because you know the whole puppet master imagery. That they're involved in everything from the media. From the media to banks. Dude, I thought you said Gab. See, no, Gab, like G-A-B. G-A-B, Andrew Torba. I was about to throw out my jacket. No, Gab. I mean, and now he's talking about the exact same talking points, the exact same Nazi-like terminology. I mean, if it quacks like a duck, I mean, I'm sorry, my dude. Like, I don't use that term that term lightly, but I don't use that term lightly, nor do I call everybody I disagree with a Nazi, but I mean, what I'm sorry, dude. This guy is clearly espousing Nazi talking points, anywhere from dog whistles to megaphones. Yeah, this dude's literally this guy is at best just espousing Nazi talking points. At worst, he's just straight up a Nazi. That's right, Grolem. And you will find and you will find and you will find a lot of you know, a lot of Nazis commenting under this guy's post constantly, because I've been floating around and I see like a fly on the wall, the type of people that comment on his post. Yeah, this guy is, if you want to be incredibly charitable, he's espousing Nazi talking points, or is just straight up a Nazi. And with such confidence, sends this out to his user base. And with such confidence, this guy like literally sends this out to his user base. And consider the libs triggered. Yeah, F all the way out of here. Like, I mean, I didn't even know that this was here in this blog post, but hey, look at that. It can't be any more in our face than that, okay? I mean, sorry, dude. I saw a YouTube video criticizing Facebook art style and how they don't use human, and no, this entire thing is yikes. So, yeah. Anyways, I rest my case, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. I rest my case. Nothing more to see here. It's frightening that people like this exist, yes, and have a massive audience. This guy's email list must be huge, because obviously since he's the founder of Gab, I'm pretty sure once you sign up, like almost everybody that signs up gets an automatic like little blog post from him. Gab itself isn't big, but he has a huge audience. And it really is. I think this guy is incredibly dangerous. If not for all like the obvious like Nazi like shit that he keeps spreading, this is incredibly dangerous. Like healthcare wise. Which brings me I thought this was gonna be like a meme blog post about vaccines, but oh boy, did we take a dare I say far right turn at the end here. Because I had this queued up here. Florida family accused of selling coronavirus miracle cure, which turned out to be bleach. Yeah, that's right. The substance was allegedly being sold to the Florida-based Genesis 2 Church of Health and Healing, which also somebody pointed out that it was a fake church. A Florida family has been accused of selling thousands of bottles of toxic industrial bleach by touting it as a miracle coronavirus cure. I wonder if there was any one particular person with power and tens of millions of followers, access to press conferences. Oh man, I wonder if there was like a certain person that talked about, where would anybody get this idea? Where would anybody get this idea? Nah, doesn't ring a bell. Aren't all churches fake though? Meaning that they're not there to worship, it was a front to sell bleach. Mark Grennan, 62, and his sons Jonathan, Jordan, Joseph allegedly made more than $1 million selling their miracle mineral solution, claiming that it could cure illnesses including cancer, malaria, and COVID. Officials said the solution being sold was actually chlorine dioxide, which is chlorine dioxide, which is typically used for industrial water treatment that can be deadly if ingested. Yeah. Authorities have not approved the substance for medical use and said it's dangerous to ingest, warning people against using it for any reason. Magufos, the medicine men. Yeah, the snake oilsmen, essentially. Court documents show the substance was being sold and marketed by a non-religious church called Genesis 2 Church of Health and Healing, where Mark Genron is the archbishop. Authorities had ordered them to stop selling the product last April, but the court order was ignored. The Grennans have been accused of fraud and violating civil court orders, and they face possible life sentences if convicted. Yeah. You can't just be selling people bleach, okay? It should be a law against these people. Yeah. They're facing possible life. Okay. So it stands to reason, and I can't believe I'm having to say this. Bleach does not cure COVID. Okay, that was a weird comment perpetuated by the former president of the United States. Okay, that was a comment that was made by the president of the United States. Okay, it was not based in science. The Cheeto, right? It was not based in science. In fact, because of his comment, there was an uptick in 911 calls for bleach ingestion. because of his comments, there was an uptick in 911 calls due to bleach ingestion. I just don't get how people can support Trump. Tens of millions of people did. Twice, because he got what, like 70 or 60 something million. So COVID deaths are Trump's fault. I think he had a direct hand in the sense that he was the president and could have listened to the authorities and could have listened to the healthcare professionals and could have made it so much less than it needed to be. Not only that, it was rhetorical. And furthermore, his unwillingness to admit he was wrong, his unwillingness to just follow the science and be completely stubborn about it, completely downplaying it, limiting the response of the federal government, had a hand in making this way worse. Okay. Yeah, he had a huge part of it. Exactly, Grolem. I have friends of mine who I consider intelligent and they are Trump supporters. I mean, listen, intelligent people, well-educated people, well-versed people can still fall. Or like biases, they can still fall for even well-done propaganda. I mean, even the most intelligent of people who are incredibly smart, well-versed, well-studied can fall for propaganda or for things that give them an emotional response. Right, he was like a mob boss running the country, correct? So yeah, I wanted to point that out as a transition from that, because I honestly thought it was going to be about that last blog post was just going to be about the vaccine, but geez. They're intelligent and fall because they are evil and privileged people. Some, I'm sure. So he helped fuel the COVID pandemic. Right. He had a huge hand, I think, in making this way worse than it needed to be. Way worse than it needed to be. I mean, do you know how simple the act of just getting up in front of just getting up in front of the podium and say, hey, listen, I don't have all the answers. How about you just listen to the healthcare professionals and wear your mask? If you would have just said that sentence, can you imagine how much better, in how much of a better position we would be in? That's it. That's all. I mean, even just that act of saying, listen, I don't have all the answers, but we're going to get through this. Listen to the healthcare professionals. Do X, Y, and Z. Wear your mask. The simple act of getting up there. Like, nobody expects the president of the United States to be a freaking scientist. Thanks for the follow, Catboy. No one expects the president to be like a scientist. We expect him to just do what he supposedly do what he can for the country, which all he had to do was say, I don't know, we're gonna get through this, listen to the scientists, wear your mask, do this, like, and that's it. That's all he had to do. That's all he had to do. Guaranteed we would have been in a monumentally better position if he would have done that the moment it was about March, I believe. Was it February or March? If you would have done that from then, guaranteed we would not be in this position. March, okay. Guaranteed we would not be in this position. Guaranteed. A scientist president, though, a lad can wish. Hey, wasn't Wasn't man, who is it? Is it Angela Merkel, who's like an actual like physicist? No, we didn't expect him to actually do a good job. We knew he wouldn't. Right. But what I'm saying is, like, can you imagine in an alternate reality, where Trump isn't Trump, and he would have just accepted science and would have just accepted what the healthcare professionals were saying at the time. And I get that, you know, some of the information was constantly updating in real time, because I know this is hard to understand, but that's how science works. But it would have been a different 2021 should he have done that. Margaret Thatcher was a chemist? Wow, interesting. True. He doesn't need to do any job, he just needed to shut up and let the professionals talk. That's impossible for him. Yeah. Correct. Anyways, it's neither here nor there. Like, he's not the president. I was gonna watch this video, but I think that we need to get through this. I'm gonna save this in case we have time. Joe Biden to raise the minimum wage for federal contractors to $15 an hour. That's fair. Labor leaders would be better presidents. Biden to raise minimum wage for federal contractors to $15 an hour. So it seems like he's gonna actually do it. In terms of his purview. 2 months after his efforts to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour ran into the Senate parliamentarian buzzsaw, which is really weird. Because it didn't have to. It didn't have to. Okay. It didn't have to. President Joe Biden is set to use his executive order to hike the pay of hundreds of thousands of federal contractors, which is what he can do in terms of his power as executive. He can just do that. But the idea that this ran into the parliamentarian buzzsaw is because they allowed it. It's because they allowed it. They didn't really fight that one. They just let it. Have you seen COVID global news? At the EU are suing, and India is losing people in the 6 figures. Yeah, it's really bad in India. Thinking Sabercat. It is really bad. It is really bad. The president is expected to issue an executive order on Tuesday, which is today. Yes, to increases contractors' work hourly minimum wage to $15 in early 2022 from up the $10.95. It eliminates a tipped wage now at $7.65 by 2024 to ensure that the federal contract workers with disabilities also receive a minimum of $15 an hour. I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, that's one definition of labor, Catboy. Because, like, labor can also be manual labor. Agencies will need to incorporate the 15 minimum wage in new contract solicitations starting January 30th and implement the new threshold in new contracts by March 30th. Agencies must implement the higher wages in existing contracts when they are extended, which often happens annually. The wage will be adjusted yearly based on increase in inflation. Yeah, so, this is like semi good news, right? It's good that, it's good that hundreds of thousands of workers are going to get a pretty significant pay increase starting next year, in early 2022. Of course, tipped workers, which I think it should be backwards. I think the tipped workers should be getting the wage increase first, but okay. And the tipped workers will have that by 2024. It is a good thing that these hundreds of thousands of people are getting a wage raise. Oh, you're in the UK? Okay. Gotcha. This is good in the sense that these hundreds of thousands of workers will get a pay increase. I would also like to see this expanded as a universal minimum wage. I would like to see this expanded as a universal minimum wage. I think it can be done. I think that there's no real evidence to suggest that we'll have a huge economic shock if we do that, especially given the fact that a lot of these minimum wage proposals aren't even immediate. They're usually done within a few years period. So yeah, this is just a further argument as to why we should have a increase in the minimum wage. Also, Tucker Carlson is saying parents who make children wear masks should be reported to Child Protection Services. Yeah, we're gonna. I queued that one up. Yeah, let's not argue over that. Let's not argue over that, folks. Do you have unemployment pay in the U.S.? Yes, but it's very. It's okay. We do have unemployment insurance. It's very limited and it's very difficult to get, but we do have it. That's all I can say about it. And it even sometimes relies on state unemployment benefits, in which case some states are just a nightmare to get any type of benefits. Looking at you, Florida. Looking at you. If you want to get unemployment benefits in Florida, it is incredibly difficult. And it's on purpose too, so that people don't get the benefits. Is Florida a right-wing state? You could say that. Yeah, it's pretty red. So yeah, I agree with this, and I hope that in doing so, we can have another conversation about raising the minimum wage to 15 across the board. I mean, I don't see why we can't do this. Alright, Floridians, but you have been designated cringe. It's okay. Why is that Florida so weird? Unclear. Yeah, I accept that title. That's right, Smetaphone. Alright guys, let's turn our attention really quickly to our friend Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson tells Fox viewers to call the cops if they see kids wearing masks outdoors.
We did give in. This grotesque version of Halloween went on for more than a year, and it's still going on.
This grotesque version of Halloween? Wait, do you think people are just doing this for the memes? Do you think people are just playing dress up? I'm sorry. Wait, do you think that people are just playing dress up?
Not even Tony Fauci still pretends that masks are medically necessary. Instead, masks are purely a sign of political obedience, like Kim Il-sung pins in Pyongyang.
What? Hey, folks, I forgot. If you wear masks, you are literally living in North Korea. You are literally living in North Korea. Not just like wearing masks? Yeah, there you go. How about that? That's a perfectly valid example. Does he have the same issue with wearing seatbelts? He's not gonna bring that up. Why does he always look like he needs a haircut? He always looks like he's like permanently confused.
We wear them because we have to. The only people who wear masks voluntarily outside are zealots and neurotics.
Oh, wow.
How neurotic are they? Well, we know. A Pew survey from last March found that 64% of white Americans who classify themselves as liberal or very liberal have been diagnosed with an actual mental health condition.
Okay, wait, how does this statistic have to do with that?
And you see them everywhere when you walk down the street in any major city. If you dare to go on foot from Union Station to the Capitol, for example, in Washington without wearing a mask, angry Biden voters will snort at you in judgment. How could you?
Angry Biden voters. Right. So I guess like Tucker went and and made sure that everybody who snorts or retorts is a Biden voter. Hey, Alexander the Great. How's it going? I mean, sadly, there's truth to that, Spirefall. Like, unironically, there's sadly truth to that.
They're saying from behind the gauze. How could you? That's the question we should be asking of them in return. The rest of us should be snorting at them first. They're the aggressors.
What? They're the aggressors? What? Hey, I'm sorry, I forgot. Like, actually caring about, like, dealing with this pandemic and caring about people other than yourself? Damn. Wow, sorry, we're the aggressors. Correct, Reddit forward. Have you seen his last scandal? I don't know, like, if I'm interested, like... I'm sure this guy has a lot of, like, scandals. I mostly just, like, try to dismantle and show how unhinged this guy is. Attacking a mask wearer in the street for is violating the NAP.
It's our job to brush them back and restore the society we were born in. So next time you see...
Wait, what does that mean? What does that mean?
Someone in a mask on the sidewalk or on the bike path, do not hesitate. Ask politely but firmly, would you please take off your mask?
What? Wait, first of all, did he just do the, what TV show is that? What cartoon is that? What cartoon is that? Oh man. It's not is it Bob's Burgers? No, it's not Bob's Burgers. It's King of the Hill. Did he just do the King of the Hill meme? This video was pushing for COVID parties last year, so young people should get the virus. I really think he should be deplatformed as stuff is frankly dangerous. Yeah, I think that honestly, this is irresponsible. This is 100% irresponsible. I've said this before, said this a million times. What you say and how you say things matter as a public figure, as a content creator, as a as a politician, things like that, as a leadership, as a leader. He's nothing but a plague rat, true. If I read Trucker. If Tucker gets deplatformed, it'll be bad juju time, though. Yeah, I think that will. But I mean, not that it's unwarranted, because definitely, it's definitely dangerous to continuously allow this to be platformed. But I understand what also Spirefall was saying. Yeah, was a pretty alright gun in Destiny 1. I've never actually played Destiny. He makes everyone that leans right look like an idiot. No one agrees with him that has any common sense. Well, I mean, true. They deplatformed the Cheeto and there wasn't any juju. Oh no, I don't know about that. I don't know. I think that there was it did have a significant impact. Not that he didn't warrant it. Not that he didn't warrant it. Of course he did. He did deserve it. But I completely if you hang out as a fly on the wall in some of these spaces. Ooh.
Science shows there is no reason for you to be wearing it. Your mask is making me uncomfortable.
What?
We should do that, and we should keep doing it until wearing a mask outside is roughly as socially accepted as lighting a Marlboro in an elevator. It's repulsive.
What?
Don't do it around other people. That's the message we should.
This guy, I seriously think that... What? If you deplatform him, then we have to deplatform everyone talks about dumb ideas. That's a whole slippery slope. No, I don't think that's a slippery slope of free speech. This isn't dumb ideas. This isn't dumb ideas. This is dangerous in terms of spreading misinformation or giving calls to action that could actually have real life consequences. Okay? Two different things. Two different things. There's dumb ideas, which you can refute and talk about, and then there's you advocating and calling to action to your millions of viewers to do this. Okay? That's what I mean about having a responsibility when you have a platform.
Should send because it's true.
It's true.
As for forcing children to wear masks outside, that should be illegal.
That should be illegal.
Your response when you see children wearing masks as they play should be no different from your response to seeing someone beat a kid in Walmart.
Oh yeah. Oh, totally the same, Tucker. Totally the same. Totally the same. I mean, I want what he's having to see this type of reality. I need to know what he's having so I can see this exact reality that Tucker is seeing. Tucker is straight up telling you to waste police time and resources by calling cops on mask wearers, basically.
Call the police immediately.
Call the police.
Child Protective Services.
CPS, guys. Okay, you see a child in a mask. CPS. Do you see the difference between like having bad ideas versus this guy is literally telling his audience, do it now. Call CPS. When you see a kid in mask, just let them do it. No, I mean, this has to be a big win if you just let them do it. All true patriots just call the cops. Come. That's right, Callow. Anyways, I'm getting a little distracted. He's literally giving you a call to action. This is the difference between having someone with, you know, stupid ideas, versus having someone literally tell millions of people. Millions of people to do this, and they listen. That's the thing, because they feel like this guy is an authoritative figure. Common sense has to play a part, though it doesn't, okay? It like, you would think, but the problem is he speaks to millions of people, and they think he is an authoritative source. If you feel like what you're watching is an authoritative person, then yeah, chances are you will act on it. I mean, maybe not all of those millions of people, but watch. There's definitely gonna be a headline, guaranteed headline. Person calls CPS on parents with children with masks. Guaranteed there's gonna be a headline at some point. You would think that common sense prevails, but that's not how that works. Human beings don't work that way. And people think Destiny and Vosh are authoritative sources. Common sense tells us that they are not trustworthy. Right, and you would say the same thing about me. I'm literally a talking head on the internet, okay? Fact check me. Fact check me. That's fine. I'm completely fine with that. I'm not telling everybody to listen to me. I'm not telling anybody to... No gods, no streamers. I'm not telling everybody to, hey, do this now. Except, of course, to follow me. And just a quick transition. Follow me on Twitch. Follow me on YouTube. And hit the subscribe button. Okay, memes. But... the point being is, I'm not telling you to do this, right? I'm not telling you to go out there and call CPS on people's children that are wearing masks. Okay? I may have bad ideas, and I use that in quotations. I may have wrong... I may have said wrong stuff, and people can fact check me. But it's a huge difference. It is a huge difference between me and Tucker Carlson over here. Un serpiente. Yeah, that's right. No more Twitter bobbleheads, please. The only important streamer and the only news show that you should be watching is mine, okay? It's the only one that matters. If you think that everyone on the internet has intelligence, you're sadly mistaken. I mean, no, that's not saying that everybody. That's not saying that everybody is bad, you know, or has incorrect things. What I'm saying is there are dangerous individuals, and there are people who perpetuate very toxic stuff that reach a lot of people. Looking at you, Temple. People relied on the internet. I mean, there's nothing wrong with like relying on the internet, but just understand that you have to vet your sources. Just understand that everybody isn't telling you like everything. Like, if I say something wrong, people correct me all the time. Like, people will correct me. You know, if I ask a question, people will figure it out. I use Internet Explorer. If I say something wrong, people will immediately correct me. They'll tell me when I'm wrong. They have no problems telling me when I'm wrong, and that's okay. But the internet is also a source of information when you know how to look at it. That's correct, Great Equalizer. That there is truth to that. There's truth to that. The difference is this guy is on national TV, getting primetime airtime for millions of people. That's the difference.
Keep calling until someone arrives.
Oh yeah, hey, keep calling the cops or CPS until somebody gets there. Just keep doing it. That's right, Spirefall.
What you're looking at is abuse. It's child abuse.
It's
and you're morally obligated.
Child abuse. Yeah, I forgot. Child abuse is when you ask your kid to wear a piece of cloth over their mouth. That's child abuse. I mean, again, I want what he's having to be able to see the reality that he lives in, the alternate reality that he lives in. This is Alex Jones level. That is correct.
To attempt to prevent it. If it's your own children being abused, then act accordingly.
What?
Let's say your kid's school emailed you to announce that every day after lunch, your 6th grader was going to get punched in the face by a teacher.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, wearing a mask is the equivalent of your child getting punched in the face by the teacher. Yeah, I mean, does anybody seriously listen to this and come away with like, oh yeah, Tucker's completely correct here. Obviously, a piece of cloth over your mouth is the equivalent of child abuse and you beating on children. Of course, you know, I forgot that is totally the definition of child abuse, and therefore you should call it like CPS and like, what? This is like this. I'm sorry, but this is delusional. Okay, this is delusional. How does this guy think? How does this guy even? You know, he doesn't believe a single word about this, right? He doesn't believe in any of this. He doesn't care. How does he sleep at night? How does he sleep at night? I really want to know.
How would you respond to that? That's precisely how you should respond when they tell you that your kids have to wear masks on the soccer field.
Yeah, correct.
That is unacceptable, it is dangerous, and we should act like it, because it...
First of all, I haven't really seen any, like, mandates or rules. Any mandates or rules saying that there are, like, a mass amount of children running around in soccer fields with masks. I'm pretty sure that I've seen plenty of videos out there where they're not wearing masks while they're out there in the field, in the soccer field. Like, there's just so much BS couched in there, so much like conspiratorial, just also trying to get this emotional outrage out of people, packed in with a lot of BS. Jesus, a great equalizer. He sleeps when the cocaine comes down. What are you listening to? I'm listening to by the way, just easy on the just for the sake of TOS. Yeah, no, I don't. Just in case, because I don't know how close that's skirting to TOS. Just in case. But what I am listening to is it's called Stream Beats. It is DMCA free music for streams and streams and YouTubes. It is by a person who does music and streaming stuff called Harris Howler. You can find them on Spotify is how I have it. Stream Beats. Yes, you can also use Pretzel Rock. It is completely safe.
It is. But too few of us have responded like that. We did give.
Yeah, okay, Tucker. I mean, I think that pretty much speaks for itself. The dude is... This guy is just delusional. And they need to seriously cut this guy out. I mean, I don't know how they're still airing this here. It's alright, EDM. Not great, mind you. Yeah, I mean, I liked the one that I have. You should send this to Jonathan Pye. Yeah, Jonathan Pye can be funny too. Okay. Moving on, so it seems like Governor Newsom has gotten the signatures necessary to begin the recall process. It's noteworthy that whole mask equals child abuse thing is a COVID hoax or talking point. I wonder where he came up with that idea from. Thanks for helping out those guys, you clown. I didn't know that, Spirefall. I mean, you're more in tune with it than I am, but I didn't know that. Which, I mean, makes sense. Because in order for you to be able to spread such BS, there has to be a very heated emotional thing. And nothing is more emotional than being like, saying stuff like, oh, child abuse. Think about the children. Hey, Heat, how's it going? Indeed, Heat is here. You should all follow them. Yeah, I don't think most people would unless they're hooked up to the goop. A lot of tyrannical governments forcing us to mistreat our kid stuff. This ties into the QAnon Save the Children pipeline. Jeez, actually that's a very, very good connection. Yeah, that makes total sense. Spirefall, that makes total sense. That makes total sense. All right, folks. Finally, Gavin's being removed. I think whatever Nancy has infected Gavin at the family reunion. I think that his response to the COVID is what got him where he is. And I think that we should be able to do this with any elected official. Why isn't this across the board? Why can't we like have recalls everywhere? I think that would be a good I think general policy. If your governor or if your elected representatives, even from state, local, and federal, if your representatives are not representing you, shouldn't you have the ability in a democracy as a people to recall them if you think that they're doing a bad job, right? That's my whole point with this. I think that this should be across the board. I see that obviously there are there's a signature limit that you have to reach. You have to propose it. You have to get that accepted. There are processes. But the fact that you can, in California, the fact that you can recall your governor if you feel like they messed up or they botched a COVID response, which arguably they did, you have the ability to call them back and have a new election. How about that? I think that should be across the board.
Breaking news right
Breaking
now
news
on CBS 2 News at 5
All right, so
p.m.
I think I can't really play that.
Breaking news: the campaign to remove Governor Gavin Newsom from office has enough ballot signatures to force a recall election.
Yeah. So now, okay. So first of all, the point,
Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm Jeff Vaughn.
the point being is you have to get one, enough signatures to even introduce the legislation, and then two, you have an election to see whether or not he gets removed, and then you have another special election, if I'm correct, right? If I'm correct.
Vaughn, let's get straight to CBS 2's Susie Sa for the breaking details. Susie?
Well, Jeff and Pat, Gavin Newsom was elected in 2018 to a 4-year term, but now he could be voted out of office in just a few months. The Secretary of State's office says this afternoon the anti-Newsom campaign has enough valid signatures now to force a recall election. And that election will likely happen this fall, and voters will be asked 2 questions. Should Governor Newsom be recalled? And if yes, who should replace him? The votes on his replacement will be counted only if a majority of voters answer yes to the recall question. 3 Republicans have already announced they are running. They include John Cox. Cox, you may...
Yeah, so very interesting how that system works. I think that the real takeaway is like, I wish this was like a more national thing. I wish this was a thing everywhere. Is the real takeaway from this. That was that song was dropped for the wait. Nice. They try to do this with them Governor Polis. Right, but the thing is, like, it just doesn't happen. You need to make sure you have the sufficient amount of votes to even submit this proposition, and then you have to get the majority of people to accept the proposition. So I think these are like fairly safe. Like there's safety measures so that you don't just submit recall suggestions, nonsense recall suggestions, out of nowhere. You know how, but in Colorado, and they lost. Right, that's what I'm saying. They you can't just recall everybody you don't like. And they didn't like him because he was a gay man. Yikes. The danger is though you can get the wrong person in or a recall in a close race. Yeah, but that's my point, thinking Sabercat. You can't just do that because you don't like the person. As Heat said, they lost. They lost that referendum, right? Because you have to get the first of all, you have to get the amount of signatures, and that takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of effort and outreach, and essentially what would be equivalent to campaigning to get the amount of signatures required. And then you have to launch another campaign for the election to remove that person. So I think that that's enough like safety rails so that you don't just get the wrong person out, or you just don't remove people because you don't like them, right? It has to be like a serious concerted effort, a real concerted effort to recall somebody. If that's how it works, I would be in favor of putting this across the board, right? I would be in favor of putting this across the board for local, state, and federal representatives, okay? For local, state, and federal representatives. That way, we have the people have a extra check on government. So that way the people have an extra check on government, right? The executive is already, I think, pretty, like, we have processes like impeachments and stuff like that, and you can impeach judges in the judicial system, I believe. So we have kind of, a check and balance system put in place, kind of. But for local, state, and federal representatives, we don't really have much to deal with them, right? Like, I mean, you can have, I think, can you impeach representatives? Can you impeach representatives, or do they get kicked out of Congress because there's a vote in the chamber to kick them out of Congress? Like, what is the check and balance on that? I feel like all elected representatives should have the option of being recalled should a momentum gather for it. Okay, I see. The representatives had to vote to kick them out. Right. It's not the people. Okay. So, I mean, like, yeah, then I would extend it all the way up until, like, the Congress and Senate, where these Congress and representatives are sometimes there for decades. Recalls and referendums should be possible, but I don't think it is here in the democracy land. Yeah. I mean, in Florida, we had a referendum that was gathering steam. We had a referendum that was gathering steam to legalize marijuana, and the Florida Supreme Court knocked it down. Cool. Nice democracy. We had a referendum, a state referendum, that was gathering steam and was going to go up for the 2022 ballot, and it got knocked down by the Florida Supreme Court. Cool. Nice meme.
You recall, lost to Newsom in the 2018 governor's race. Also in the running, Kevin Faulconer, the former mayor of San Diego.
Oh yeah, somebody mentioned this.
Jenner, the Olympic gold medalist and reality TV star, joined the race.
Oh, we got another reality TV star. We got another reality TV star. Right, your freedom interferes with the Constitution. Lamau. Crying at no weed, you guys need it in Florida. True. True.
Governor Newsom just reacted on Twitter, writing, "This Republican recall threatens our values and seeks to undo the important progress we've made, from fighting COVID to helping struggling families, protecting our environment."
Listen, I agree with Newsom in the sense of, like, I think Newsom has done good policies regarding climate. I think he also did good policies in terms of, like, economic aid for struggling families, but I don't think that his COVID response is something to be listed at the top of the list of important progress. I don't know I don't know if he did a good job on that. I think that's the whole reason why he's getting recalled, to be honest. But I will say that some of the policies that he implemented in terms of, like, in the environment, and some of the economic COVID relief was good. I'll say that, but his contradictory responses in COVID, like, didn't help, and I think that that's probably the main driver for his recall, to be honest. I thought I heard somewhere that Matthew McConaughey might be running for governor. He might. I think those are still rumors.
And passing common sense gun violence solutions. There is too much at stake. The last California governor to be recalled was Gray Davis. He was replaced by Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger in 2000.
That's how the Arnold Schwarzenegger won. Huh, interesting. Fun fact. I didn't know that. All right, folks. We are almost there. We are almost there. The Governator, that's right. Alright, folks, I'm going to take a quick break. and take a second to actually show for myself. Folks, if you enjoyed the channel, take a second. Like the stream. Follow us here on Twitch. And of course, my call to action is please spread the word far and wide that this is the chillest place to hang out for news and politics in the morning, alright? What other chill and awesome space is there, alright? I'm kidding, there's plenty of chill streamers, but this is the place for news and politics in the AM, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Monday through Thursday, we have Saturday Catterdays on Saturday. And of course, if you want to support the channel, there are multiple ways of doing it. There are subs, biddies, gifted subs, donos, merch, all that awesome stuff. Twitch Prime, which is free. The Bezo Bucks are free. All of that stuff does help the channel. And I appreciate all of you guys who are here and all of you guys who have supported us. It's because of you guys that this channel continues to grow. And I do appreciate all of you guys. And of course, please, my main call to action is always spread the word far and wide, guys. Politicians are basically bad actors. I can see the correlation. Hey, there might be a point there. True. My kid is on BRB because this place is so chill. Nice, thank you. Alright folks, quick break, and we will go over these last, we've got a few things to go over. Quick break, and I'll be right back. Okay. Alright. Texas will gain 2 congressional seats. 7 states to lose 1 seat, Census Bureau data shows. This is why the census is important, folks. Texas will gain 2 more congressional seats, and 7 states will lose a seat as a result of the population shifts recorded in the 2020 census, the Census Bureau said Monday in the release of its first-round data from the survey taken last year. In total, 7 seats shifted, affecting 13 states. Colorado, Florida, Montana, North Carolina, and Oregon each gained 1 seat, in addition to Texas. California, Illinois, Michigan, and New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia each lost 1 seat. Yeah, this is why the census matters, folks. The shift could affect the 2020 midterm elections and whether the Democrats can hold on to control of the House. Yeah, because, the performance of the Democratic Party in the House race was abysmal. Even though they do have the majority, it is incredibly slim. So this could shift the power balance. This is why the census is important. This is why elections matter. in this sense. Yeah. The shift could affect 2020 midterm elections and whether Democrats can hold on to control of the House, where they hold a narrow majority. It's also a part of a broader shift to the south and west of the U.S., with 84 seats shifting towards those states since 1940. The U.S. House of Representatives has 435 seats based on population. Each decade, as population shifts, the allotment of seats for each state may change based on the updated data collected by the Census Bureau. States that may grow may gain House members at the expense of shrinking states. The population for apportionment includes residents of the 50 states, plus overseas service members and federal civilian employees who are attached to their home state's tally, according to the Census Bureau. New congressional districts would take effect for the 2022 election. That puts added pressure on Democrats, who control the House by a slim margin of 218 to 212. Unbelievable. This should increase the size of Congress. It's been 435 for over a century. I might not be opposed to that. I might not be opposed to that. I think that honestly, one of the ideas that I've had is just to merge the Senate, right? Instead of making the Senate its own like chamber, just throw all of them in there, and have a more broader people's house, I guess you should say, as we say, and maybe then move to a more parliamentary type system. First we would need ranked choice voting, and then we could try to move into a more parliamentary system. But yeah, I might agree if we could increase the size of Congress. I might not necessarily be opposed to that. And unlike adding states, it's only an act of Congress. True. Oh, by the way, speaking of that, yesterday we had a incredibly dense and clownish troll come into the chat and talk about how the people in DC don't deserve representation, and then finally, when pressed for a solution, they said it should just be DC should just be integrated into like Virginia or something. Was the state Vermont or Maryland? And I realized, first of all, that is a silly solution, and second of all, Ben Shapiro was I can't speak today, parroting this exact point. I was actually watching the Majority Report yesterday. Maryland, thank you, Kinetic Pause. The Majority Report actually played the clip of Ben Shapiro advocating this exact solution. Kind of tells you how influential propaganda is, yeah? Congress should be a one-to-one representative body, maybe? They should shrink Congress massively to one person, me. Isn't DC by Virginia? I think it's Virginia that he was arguing for. It's like, well, first of all, Virginia isn't asking to annex DC. Neither is Maryland. Neither are the people of DC. So yeah, I just thought that was funny, that he was just parroting Ben Shapiro's like talking point. The Mythno state. The seats that, they have a slim majority of 218 to 212 because of their abysmal performance, with 5 seats vacant. The size of the House has not changed since 1913. Parroting a weasel, true. States that have gained seats were mostly Republican-leaning, with Texas, Florida, Montana, and North Carolina each voting for former President Trump in the 2020 presidential election. North Carolina was one of the closer races, with Trump defeating Biden by less than 1.5%. Oregon and Colorado, meanwhile, were solidly blue states in the last election. States that lost seats were mostly Democratic, but consist of more close battleground states. California and Illinois were solidly blue in Biden's column. Michigan and Pennsylvania were closer swing states with slim margins for the president. Trump prevailed in Ohio and West Virginia. Today's data release is the first step in the redistricting process and will give states the number of congressional districts they will have for the rest of the decade. Jeez. Retrocession is a crazy idea battled by some. I'm a leftist, but I can tell you VA absorbing DC would be a nightmare for already forgotten rural population. Well, I mean, maybe, I don't know the situation there, Jesus, but nobody asked for it. That's my main point. Nobody's asking for that. Like, nobody is asking for that. Maybe we should abolish all the US states and then federal government. Maybe one day. DC as a new state, no absorption. Yeah, I think that's what mostly the people want. To be honest, I think that's what one of the most the thing that the people actually want. So why not? So why not even like allow? So why not give it to them? It's what they're asking for. I think the people in DC didn't say, "Hey, we would like to be part of." You know, I don't think they ever said that. Anyways. Anarchist even harder. Today's data release is the first step in redistricting process that will give the states the number of congressional districts they have for the rest of the decade. Yeah, that's why the census matters. That's why the census matters, folks. We need a laughing Carlos emote. And the kitties. Yes. Yes, we do. Oh, I just checked and we still live in a society. I feel like we need a redo on the census because of all the dog whistles and fuckery that happened. Yeah. There's a case for that. I could see that. I'm just laying the groundwork, folks. Be prepared. This is what's happening, and if it sticks, this is what we're looking at for the next 10 years. Okay? Plus the fact that there's going to be heavy, aggressive gerrymandering. Just make sure you're in tune with what's happening in terms of your district, and do what you need to do. Make sure everything's updated. Whatever you need to do. 2022 is going to be honestly, I think the Democratic Party is going to get swept. I think the Democratic Party is going to get swept between incompetence and aggressive gerrymandering, and it's going to be bad. I think they're gonna get swept. If you ask me, I could be wrong, but if you ask me, it's a possibility. Okay. No, that's not. No, the no, no, Wiz. I want you to be wrong, but you aren't wrong. Yeah, I see it. I'm telling you, I'm seeing it between the incompetence of the Democratic Party to what ad is? Why every time we do the news, we get the most weirdest ads. I'll tell you. Between the incompetence of the Democratic Party and this aggressive push, which is going to be obviously you know, heavily gerrymandered, all of these new laws being passed around, it's going to be very, very rough. I see it. The average Democrats represent over 700k people. That's way too many for the effective. That's way too many for effective representation. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind expanding it. That's for sure. A gender reveal party. No, try to not skirt TOS, my friend. Did you hear about that gender reveal party in was it New Hampshire? It caused an earthquake. Why? Why are people like this? Was it New Hampshire? Somebody correct me on this. I'm pretty sure it was New Hampshire. Or New Mexico. Got like a piece of hair. Was it New Hampshire or New Mexico? I'm not sure. I think we might have time for this.
In Hawaii and California, in an area about the size of Australia, is the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. For decades, tons of our plastic debris has accumulated there because of swirling ocean currents. It looks like a cloudy soup, and that's because the plastic objects are spaced far apart, and they range in size from large debris to microscopic. There are at least 4 other garbage patches like this in the world. And after scientists discovered them, starting in the 90s, they thought that this might be where a lot of the plastic ended up, out there, floating on the surface. But recently, scientists brought large nets to the Great Pacific Garbage Patch and took a closer look at the objects they pulled out. They found water bottles, and hard hats, and bottle caps, and toothbrushes, and toilet seats, and laundry baskets. And using what they found, they were able to calculate how much debris was in all of the garbage.
Yeah, and even then, it's like close to skirting TOS, causing the earthquake. Yeah, there was a gender reveal party, and it caused like an earthquake. I'm pretty sure it was New Hampshire or New Mexico. It was one of those. New Hampshire, it like knew something. It was either one of those. I remember.
Patches.
There were about 300,000 tons of plastics at the surface of the ocean, which is a huge number.
It is a big number, but a few 100,000 metric tons of plastic is only about 1% of the estimated 8 million tons of plastic scientists believe is emitted into the ocean every year. So scientists have been left investigating a mystery. Where does the rest of the ocean's plastic go? This is clue number 1 in the case of the missing plastic, a seafloor sediment sample. It was taken
New
from the
Hampshire,
bottom
by
of
the
the
way.
Santa Barbara Basin off the coast of California. It represents a measure of time from 1870 at its deepest layer of sediment up until 2009. But this period from 1945 to 2009 is where the study authors were focused on. It's the era of plastic production. In these layers, scientists found plastic fibers and fragments that were 1 millimeter or smaller in size. They found more and more plastic particles as the years went on, doubling every 15 years. That rate is nearly identical to the rate of global plastic production.
As soon as you see a layer of microplastic, you know you pass the 1950s, and that's the legacy of our generation.
This is Laurent Le Breton. He works at the Ocean Cleanup and led the study of the objects in the Great Pacific Garbage Patch.
And this will be there forever. We know that.
The sea sediment study looked at microplastics, particles smaller than 5 millimeters. These either come from synthetic clothing fibers, or they are the result of larger plastics breaking down. We found these tiny particles floating throughout the ocean, and even in the guts of the ocean's tiniest creatures, like plankton. But the sediment study shows that some of our plastic is likely hiding, buried in the seafloor, too.
Jeez.
But here's another clue. This is a plastic bag captured 2,500 meters below the surface of the Arctic deep sea. It's one of over 2,100 photographs taken with this deep sea camera.
Part of the work that we're doing is to look at the impact of climate change in the Arctic. We use towed camera surveys to look at the impact on large animals like starfish and snails, sponges. And while I was doing these surveys, I saw that more and more plastic debris was on the seafloor.
Melanie Bergman's research shows that large plastic objects don't just float on the surface or degrade into microplastic. Some of them sink without breaking down. One study found that about 50% of plastic in landfills is more dense than seawater, which means these objects could sink on their own.
But even those other 50% may actually travel to the seafloor with time. Debris which is floating on the ocean surface becomes colonized with barnacles, mussels, all sorts of different organisms. And then it becomes heavier and heavier, and at a certain point, then it starts to sink.
Bergman's research is difficult to replicate throughout the ocean because of the challenge of surveying deep sea environments. But it suggests that some of that missing plastic might be sitting on the seafloor, intact. Another clue complicates the mystery, though. This plastic crate from Taiwan. It's one of the objects excavated during the harvest in the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. And what struck researchers was its production date, 1971. When they looked at the production dates of other objects, they saw a trend. A lot of it was old trash. This was a new lead, because if the majority of plastic pollution degraded into microplastic or fell to the ocean floor, then what you'd see in garbage patches would be new plastic.
And that changed the story because the plastic that is accumulated at the surface of the ocean is actually very persistent. The plastic we find in subtropical oceans may actually be there for decades, if not centuries.
Jeez. For centuries. For centuries. I mean, we have alternatives to this. Has anybody seen, why is it giving me a Capital One thing?
Is far closer than the open ocean or the bottom of the deep sea.
Seaspiracy?
Liberton's research found that plastic objects and coastlines have more recent production dates than
I couldn't
plastic in the
finish
open
watching
ocean.
it.
This clue led scientists to think a lot of debris actually stays close to shorelines around the world, hidden in plain sight.
Some of that will end up in the middle of the ocean in garbage patch, but actually a lot of it stays fairly near shore and hops from beach to beach.
I haven't watched it.
Eric Bonsabil is an oceanographer and is building an ocean model that predicts where our missing plastic ends up.
It's sad.
The completed
I
model
couldn't
will be
watch
finished in
it.
2022.
I couldn't
But in the
finish it, I
meantime,
mean.
he and his team published initial results to a Twitter feed.
We use simulations of the ocean current, and then we put in virtual plastic. We move that plastic with the ocean flow. At the same time, the plastic can fragment, it can degrade, organisms start growing on it, and that weighs down the plastic so that it slowly starts to sink into the deeper ocean. So in that way, we're doing like this gigantic simulation of all of the ocean, of all the plastic moving around.
Bonsabil thinks that a majority of plastic pollution is within 100 miles of shorelines, continually getting washed back up on beaches, down coastlines, or up and down to the seafloor.
Plastic continuously goes back and forth between the coastline and offshore. That's a lot of rubbing and fragmenting and scraping over the sand.
This commotion helps explain the presence of microplastics in sediments and animal guts too. Laurent's organization is working on cleaning up the garbage patches in the middle of the ocean, but that won't do much for the other 99% of our plastic. The microplastics becoming part of our food web and geologic record, the larger debris sinking to the bottom of the ocean, and more likely than not, the stuff getting washed up on beaches. Like this one, where I recently visited, where I found a mix of micro and larger plastics. But knowing where plastics end up can help us keep this plastic heap from growing. These photos were taken by volunteers at an annual International Coastal Cleanup event organized by the Ocean Conservancy, where people volunteer to pick up plastic on the beaches near them. The most common objects they find are food wrappers, cigarette butts, plastic bottle caps, and plastic cups and plates. The easiest way to get plastic like this out of the ocean is to prevent it from entering in the first place.
Right. I was about to say, you know, you could have all the volunteers in the world and
with better recycling programs, or producing and using less plastic altogether.
Yeah.
There are nearly 400,000 miles of coastline around the world, not all of it accessible for people. But knowing that most of our plastic pollution hangs out along shorelines before it becomes microplastics or floats out to the open...
Right, the solution is for it not to be there in the first place. When they toss the stuff and it just goes, yeah, that's my point exactly, Grolem. There is a possibility of it just ending up back in the ocean anyways, despite all your efforts. This is why it can't be solved by merely just doing this. Although it's good, I'm not gonna... of course, this is beautiful, this is awesome, but we need to start talking about alternatives, okay? We need to start talking about alternatives. Hemp can replace a lot of these plastics and are perfectly biodegradable, perfectly renewable. That's just it. That's just it. Like 90% of recycled goods get rejected. That's true. So that's just it. Like, the solution is we have to rethink this. Okay, this is unacceptable. Although it is obviously needed, necessary, it is unacceptable. The fact that we are in this position. There's been scientific inaccuracies in Seaspiracy, but I haven't watched it. I haven't seen it either, but unfortunately I do have to go. It is just about 11:30. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you, Grolem. Thank you, Darknet. You guys are awesome. All of you. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the channel, make sure you hit that follow button and subscribe, like the stream, do all that awesome stuff. Spread the word. And as always, stay safe. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next stream. See ya! Humans are gross. Alright, let's head on over to, Idan Simpson. Follow Grolem, by the way. Thanks, man. See ya! Alright, folks, we're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go!